Hello, boys and girls. It's your old friend RJ City, and today we will be watching the trailer to Psycho 3, which is, of course, a threequel to Psycho 2, which is, of course, a sequel to Psycho 1, which was based on a book, and the guy who wrote that book also wrote a Psycho 2 novel that has absolutely nothing to do with that movie. So they really started veering off at Psycho 2, and then Psycho 3, as we were about to see, I think is going to be a shit show. First of all, it is directed by Anthony Perkins, which is hilarious. He's like, yeah, I've been around that Hitchcock guy enough. He can move over, Alfred. I think I'll take it from here. A lot of close-up shots, pan zooms. We're in color now, too. The world is changing. Cinema is on the cutting edge, and Anthony Perkins is steering the ship. I think also in Psycho 2, okay, at the end of the first Psycho, he was arrested, and then the Psycho 2 is like 22 years later. He's released from the mental institution. He was not found guilty due to insanity, but I guess he's better now. And then they let him out, and he goes back to the house, and more people keep dying under mysterious circumstances, so they think it's him, obviously. It turns out not to be him. He's totally on the straight and narrow, and it also turns out that his mother from the original was not actually his mother. His mother was the sister of that woman who is actually crazy herself and locked away. And of course, this woman reveals herself and now becomes the new mother, because Psycho is always about a dead mother. So once you establish one dead mother, you got to do it again. You got to keep finding mothers. And this was only Psycho 2. So who knows what we will encounter here today in Psycho 3. So without any further ado, let us watch the trailer to 1986's Psycho 3.
Norman Bates has finally got his act together.
Yes, he looks very normal. An evil owl?
I won't be out late.
Oh, no.
Mother?
It's another mother? She's dead twice.
After being locked up for 22 years,
the same
Norman
shitty
finally
house.
has a reason to celebrate.
What shall we toast
Oh, no.
to this time?
Happiness.
He's getting
After
laid.
22 years of being a bad boy,
Oh,
Norman
Jesus.
Bates has finally become the kind of son that makes a mother proud. He runs a respectable
Yeah,
business.
he sure does.
He's met a nice girl
Everybody wants
that
to
he
bang
likes.
Norman.
If only he could forget about.
The past is never really past. It stays with me all the
Oh,
time.
no.
And no matter how hard I try, I can't really escape.
voyeur.
She's a nice girl,
She's a whore.
but we didn't do anything.
You let her come between us.
God, will you leave me alone, Mother? Will you leave me alone?
It's perfectly natural for a son to love his mother.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Guess so, Norman. In the rain?
It's homecoming week at the Bates Motel. And homecomings often bring out the worst in a
Oh,
family.
they sure do.
Norman, can't you do anything right?
Anthony Perkins, Psycho 3.
Dolby
The
Hi-Fi.
terror is now complete.
Beta Hi-Fi. The terror is now complete because it felt so unfinished in the first movie. There was really no conclusive ending. Holy shit. All right. First thing, at no point does it look like Norman ever has his act together. And this is immediately creepy. There's no shift or turn. And now he's already talking to his dead mother, who we know isn't there from the first one, and we know isn't there from the second one. So did they fucking dig her up again? Does he just keep finding different mothers? Who knows? Second of all, what was up with the shot of that owl? That evil haunted owl just staring. Maybe that's his mother. His mother is in the owl. And now he talks to this owl. That was so incredibly weird. Why is he back in that house? Don't you have enough shit on your plate? You were gone for 22 years, and this dilapidated mansion motel is still standing? They didn't knock it down to put a condos or a mall or anything? And I always love that, like, the hotel business is very good, and it's just the shittiest B&B kind of thing. You never really see him put out towels or making breakfast or anything that would constitute running a motel. That makes zero sense to me. I also love, I guess he didn't get thrown away in the second one or arrested or anything. He was found innocent. And they were like, whoop, must have just been a normal incident. We're not worried about you, Norman. Enjoy your successful motel business. I love by far the creepiest part of this is that he's dating. It is so weird. It really is, because he still has this, like, 12-year-old boy kind of innocence to him. But obviously this girl really wants a bad boy. She's probably one of those people who writes letters to people in jail and then dates them. You see them on Jerry Springer and things like that, of that nature, or maybe Montel, who am I to say? But she really wants this crazed bad boy who just seems to be the most boring date ever. Let's slowly drink and then slowly dance, and she's loving it. She's rubbing up all over him, but he's, of course, oh, I have so much on my mind. And I love how he's like, we can never get away from the past. So maybe you shouldn't be running a fucking motel in the old dilapidated mansion where all the murders happened. None of the murders happened anywhere else. I also love, at least in the original Psycho, they did a lot, if you had never seen it before, to obscure the mother and you were not really sure. And then, of course, the skeleton reveal at the end. But this is so dark. There's such a shadow over the face. When you know the mother's dead, it's irrelevant. They probably just had a guy in a mask, a black mask, with a wig on. I did love the line, she's a whore. I'm gonna have a child just so they can grow up and date, and I can complain about their date in bed and say, she's a whore. You let her come between us. Whose voice is that? She's a whore. So there's that level of incestuous, and also on top of it, necrophilia. And really the only one they're missing is a bestiality, or maybe he makes out with the owl. Who am I to say? And then, of course, he's on the bed with that woman. There's a real romp going on there. And then he's watching her through a wall, which bothers me. This woman clearly wants to sleep with you. Can you not jack off for a day? Let it breathe, man. And then they seem to be making out on the roof in the rain, which is maybe to get away from Mother. Does not seem like the wisest idea. And then he's driving in the rain, and a woman dressed as Mother, or maybe it's like the fourth or fifth fucking Mother at this point, grabs him in the piano wire thing, and then he hits on the brakes, and it's on a studio lot, because it's all black, and there's just a bunch of reeds sticking up from the ground, I guess to indicate that he's fully gone off the rails. And then he says we all go a little mad sometimes. And that's for sure. But certainly not criminally insane to the point where you're locked away for 22 years, and then you come out again. There's another series of murders that I guess you were framed for. So then the police are like, give you a third chance, and then more shit still happens. I do love the sounds of the stabbing and the can't you do anything right? Because I do feel like that is something my mother would say to me if we were in a murderous gang. Lastly, that hideous, the logo is so hideous. It'll be just like the original, but outlined in red. That's it. And now the terror is complete. And it sure as shit is complete, because I will not be watching this in full.